Iota is currently feeless and has no inflation, but is using a centralized coordinator node for consensus, so you could say it doesn't really count. However, after many years, it seems like they are finally getting close to switching to a decentralized consensus method, whilst still being feeless and inflation-free. Most cryptocurrencies charge a fee whenever you want to make a transaction. They are charging the fee for a reason, as fees provide important security benefits, such as preventing spam or generating rewards for contributing to security. So how does Iota plan to stay secure without these fees? In this video, I'll go through the main attack vectors that fees protect against, and how Iota plans to defend against them. The main thing that fees protect against is spam attacks. With no fees, a user could easily spam millions of transactions to the network and cause things to slow to a halt. To prevent spam attacks, Iota uses a congestion control algorithm combined with a secondary token called mana, which is a token generated from holding Iota tokens. Nodes will only be able to add a block to the tangle if they have adequate mana to do so. If you want to spam millions of transactions to the network, you will need a lot of mana, so would need a lot of Iota tokens. It's debatable whether this counts as a fee or not, at least when there's no congestion in the network. With this method, you can say there are no fees, as most people, even with a small number of Iota tokens, should be able to easily generate enough mana to send transactions without having to sell any of their Iota tokens to do so. However, during times of congestion, many users won't have enough mana to post transactions, so if they need to make a transaction quickly, may have to sell Iota tokens for mana, which can be considered as a fee. Even in this case though, users could just wait for the network to become less congested if they want to avoid this fee. However, there is the worry that whales could spam transactions to a point where smaller holders never have enough mana to post a transaction without selling some of their Iota tokens, and basically causing a permanent fee. So in theory, I think it's a reasonable model where the network is mostly feeless, except during times of congestion, but we'll have to wait and see how it turns out to see if whales cause a permanent level of congestion. Another weakness of feeless cryptocurrencies that is somewhat similar to spam attacks is dust attacks. Dust attacks are where you split up a token into its smallest allocation and send it to trillions of addresses, meaning the size of the state that nodes need to store increases massively, so nodes have to store a huge amount of extra data, making them more expensive or even impossible to run. Iota also supports adding data to transactions, so you could even do a similar attack in a different way by sending a lot of transactions, each with a ton of data instead. To prevent this attack, Iota uses the UTXO model and requires each UTXO to contain a storage deposit. The storage deposit is a number of Iota tokens that need to be included in the UTXO depending on the amount of data the UTXO takes up. This sets a cap on the maximum amount of data that all the UTXOs added together can take up. It would no longer be possible to send one Iota to trillions of addresses, as each UTXO containing the one Iota would also need something like 60,000 Iota in each UTXO, making the attack impossible. Iota also allows nodes to prune any data that is not part of a recent epoch, so old data can be deleted. These were the main attack vectors that having no fees introduced. However, Iota also has no inflation. The big reason why most cryptocurrencies have a level of inflation in the first place is to provide a monetary incentive for people to participate in security. If mining Bitcoin had no reward, then almost no one would mine it, and there would be no hash power securing the network. If Cardano didn't provide staking rewards, very few people would be delegating stake to validators, and even fewer people would be running those validator nodes. People are lazy, and the incentive to take part in security is a huge component in making cryptocurrency secure. However, without fees or inflation, Iota can't provide a monetary incentive for this reward. It has tried to get around this in two ways. Firstly, by making it as easy and low cost as possible to participate in security, and secondly, by providing mana as an incentive for staking. For the first point, Iota will be using a form of delegated proof of stake, where users can delegate their Iota tokens to a validator, and because transactions are free, it costs them nothing to delegate. When delegating to a validator, the tokens aren't locked up and can be spent as normal, so delegating to a validator will be very easy and cost the user nothing. Validator nodes will also be fairly lightweight and not require much more work than running a normal node. This should make it easy for people who would be running nodes anyway. However, people are still lazy, so even if it may be one click and no cost to delegate to a validator, many people still won't do it. This is why an incentive is needed. For Iota, the incentive they are going to try will be bonus mana, depending on the amount of stake you delegate to a validator. Whilst mana may not be a reward that you can sell for value at any time, other cryptocurrencies have shown that block space can become very valuable during times of congestion. So mana should have occasional spurts of being valuable where it can be sold. This may not seem like much of an incentive, but if all you have to do is click a button and you generate extra mana for free, it may be enough. However, for me, this is still the biggest question mark around Iota's new consensus method, whether bonus mana will be enough of an incentive to get people to participate with staking. I suspect one of the reasons the Shimmer network was created was to test these incentives to see if mana will be enough for security or if they will need to introduce inflation. So spam attacks, dust attacks, and staking rewards are the three main issues with a feeless and inflation-free cryptocurrency. To summarize, Iota deals with these issues, firstly by using mana to defend against spam attacks, secondly by requiring a storage deposit on UTXOs to defend against dust attacks, and thirdly by giving bonus mana as a reward for people who are staking. With these three features, Iota can hopefully provide a feeless cryptocurrency that doesn't suffer from any of the normal attacks that feeless cryptocurrencies are prone to. Having feeless transactions is an important goal to aim for, as at least in many Western countries, if I want to transfer funds to another person, there's usually no fee. If crypto wants to match this user experience, it should also have a way for basic transactions to also have no fee. So if Iota is able to pull it off and create a decentralized cryptocurrency without fees or inflation, it would be an incredible feat. So I think they are worth keeping an eye on. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to catch my future content.